Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. Minster Freeland was in Alberta, making announcements about tax breaks for carbon capture companies, trying to take credit for somebody else's ideas, somebody else's work. And on to the Liberal credit, it's the first time they've done anything that might be forward-thinking. It's the first time they've done anything that might be assistance to the country, as opposed to destroying it, like with the carbon tax. Now, the mainstream media that was there asked her the same question. All four outlets asked the same question. What are we doing about the train? What are we doing about the looming strike, which I've been talking to you guys about for a couple of weeks, because I understand the importance of the train and its significance on the infrastructure. Minster Freeland doesn't seem to understand that quite to the same degree, which begs the question, how can she be the finance minister? But I suppose that's a different video. Before I get into this one, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with all your socials. Of course, being in Alberta, the Liberal Party didn't allow any of the independent media to come to this press conference. And if they did, they weren't permitted to ask any questions. So the four main people were represented. The four main companies were represented, and they all asked essentially the same question. What is your government going to do about the very real, very likely rail strike that is looming over this country? A problem that I've been telling you guys about for weeks now. Well, her responses are very eye-opening. So let's just let her tell you for herself, and then I will give you my 2 cents.
So we know the best deals are reached at the negotiating table. We are expecting the parties to roll up their sleeves and get a deal done ASAP. Our plan is for the parties to listen to Canadians, listen to their neighbors, listen to their friends, to recognize that it is totally unacceptable for us as a country to sabotage ourselves right now. We take this situation incredibly seriously. We know that the best deals are reached at the bargaining table. I would say, let's as a country be united in sending a very clear message to the companies and to the union. It is not acceptable for us to do this act of self-harm to the Canadian economy. And we simply cannot afford, we cannot tolerate a self-inflicted wound. And that's why I am saying, with real seriousness to the companies and to the union, take your responsibility seriously and get a deal. I take this situation extremely seriously. We know the best deals are reached at the bargaining table, and we know whose responsibility it is to get a deal. It's the responsibility of the companies. It's the responsibility of the union. I want the employers, I want the unions to hear us. I want them to roll up their sleeves, to recognize Canadians need them to get this done, to reach a deal, so we can keep on moving forward.
So what I heard her say is the same thing over and over again, like always. Every question that she was asked, every time that the reporter tried to reframe the same question, she would just say the same things, different kinds of seriously. I mean, the word seriously has its own intensity. How can you think that adding another word in front of it is going to somehow alter that, or going to make it seem like you're not doing anything but sitting on your hands? You've known about this problem for over a year, and it's telling that some of the owners of these railways are very, very wealthy people. I mean, some of the richest people on earth are owners in these railways, and yet they still can't hammer out a deal. They still want the employees to do more, to give more. And of course, Minster Freeland's plan is to just say, we're going to use peer pressure. We're going to put peer pressure from all of the Canadians who are all expecting you to do a good job. And that's all there is to it. So you have to do what the Canadians want, because never mind how you're living, never mind your caliber of life. And this is why I've told you all that the trains should not be in the control of private industry. Some of the richest men on earth own these trains. People on earth own these trains. They are not moving. How much money do you need, right? But they're still not moving the freight. They're not going to move them off the rails. The conductors are not going to be, the engineers are not going to be willing to work on these trains without a contract. Some of them have been working without a contract for over a year as it is, one whole entire company. A couple of things that I think are a joke, right? She's like, oh, we know the best deals are made at the negotiation table. All deals are made at the negotiation table. Good ones, bad ones, small ones, big ones. They are all made at the negotiation table. All of them. Because that's where you negotiate. At the negotiation table. When it was pointed out to her that many of the cities in this country have about 2 weeks worth of chemicals that should look after keeping the water clean, she went back to talking about how she expects the company and the union to sit down and discuss it. Now, those unions, the company itself has already stopped hauling many of those chemicals. So the clock is already ticking on entire cities not having clean drinking water. Entire cities starting to have development of a bacteria or what have you. Some of the richest men on earth own these trains, and you have to wonder if their motivation is something other than saving a few bucks on overtime pay or finding other engineers, so that, because one of the largest grievances is that the engineers are being expected to go to other parts of the country, forced to be relocation. And you can't do that to people. That ain't right. However, there is a lot of freight that moves on trains. Absolutely. And though I don't agree with Minster Freeland that the economy is in good shape, I certainly don't think that she can call it a self-inflicted wound on the economy. I mean, in an effort to try and make everybody feel like it's the train's fault, right? Because now when the economy turns, like I did on a recent video, and I told you that the economy is nowhere near what they're trying to make you think it is, and that they're trying to reinstill buyer confidence, consumer confidence. Now she's trying to throw the trains under the bus, right? Under the train, I suppose, in this case. Like now it'll be all about how everything was going fine, but then the shortages started up again, and then the inflation went through the roof, and then we had to crack down on that. We needed to crack down. So we took all of your rights so that we could crack down and force the trains to go back to work. I don't know that they have a clue what they're doing. Like, I don't think that the Liberal Party has a single solitary idea about labor strikes. I don't think that they have a single solitary clue about how to govern. It does not seem that this person has thought her way through the entire discussion. It seems as though, in her mind, everything is somebody else's fault. Now, I don't agree with her in any way, shape, or form. They had time to go for binding arbitration. They had time last year to get at least one side of the fence to go for contracts. But the Liberal Party and the businesses, the owners of the companies, elected to forego such a thing. And now here they are, many of them sitting without a contract, saying, nope, it's time that you sign on the dotted line and stop trying to work 1,000 kilometers away from where I'm supposed to be living. None of that's going to matter when the lack of freight that's being moved out of the ports starts to decay, stops getting to the stores. Trucks are running rampant and burning a lot of fuel because the ship you can't stop the ship, right? Like, you can say we're not taking any more chemicals, but somewhere in the ocean, there's a ship full of product that when it gets to the port will unload in anticipation of dropping those containers onto trains. And they just simply won't be there. Those trains will not be running. So the port will begin to back up. Product will go to waste. The ripples and the ramifications of this should be causing the Liberals to say, hey, wait a second, we're going to do something about it. And we're going to do something about it right now. We're going to get out in front of this problem. Why are they not out in front of this problem? Are they incompetent, or do they know something that we don't know? You'd have to let me know down in the comments what your position is. I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time.